Welcome to the CCTV America News Hour. I'm Mike Walter, and we begin in Iraq with reports that rebels may have taken full control of the largest oil refinery. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is continuing his peace push. Kerry met with Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki in Baghdad on Monday. This followed a weekend where Sunni insurgents rapidly gained new ground. CCTV's Tony Cheng reports from Erbil in northern Iraq.
U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry arriving for an unscheduled visit to Iraq on Monday. Unscheduled, but perhaps not a surprise. Mr. Kerry's primary focus on this trip to the Middle East is finding a response to the rapid advance of Sunni militants in Iraq. And gone are the friendly smiles as Mr. Kerry met Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki to discuss American support. The discomfort was clear. Washington has stated Mr. Maliki must form a government that includes Iraqis, Sunnis and Kurds.
The future of Iraq depends primarily on the ability of Iraq's leaders to come together and take a stand united against ISIL. Not next week, not next month, but now.
And less than 50 kilometers away, Shia militia and the Iraqi army battle fighters from the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. Despite their American Humvees, funding and training, they failed to push the militants back. If the United States is to provide help, it could come in the form of targeted air support. But even in the parts of Iraq that have escaped the fighting, this looks like a country divided along sectarian lines. Shia to the south, Sunni to the north, and the east, which is Kurdistan. But even if Mr. Maliki tries to bring the Kurds back into the fold, it's questionable whether they'll want to come. They've shown that their borders are now secure. They've taken territory in Kirkuk that they've wanted for years. And the Kurdish Prime Minister has stated openly that after this conflict, Iraq will never look the same again. Still, on the streets of Baghdad, people were convinced that they would not be abandoned by their former occupier.
Kerry's visit to Baghdad will bring positive results for the Iraqi situation because the U.S. politicians realize the crisis in Iraq and the dangers of ISIL in Iraq and the region.
America will not accept the presence of al-Qaeda and ISIL in the region because that will impact on the Middle East region and the Arab states. It will have an effect on America, too.
But while the negotiations and political wrangling continues, the casualty numbers also rise. 15 Shiite Turkmen villagers killed in clashes with ISIL fighters outside Kirkuk. And the divisions across Iraq get deeper every day. Tony Cheng, CCTV, Iraqi Kurdistan.